it's scary, right? They can't even do that, right? So we got to create athletes at the end of the day. That's going to be a better athlete. It's going to be a better track athlete. It's going to be better for them overall. Carve out time for sprint work. All right, so they come to me in the off season. We have an hour. I spend about 20 to 30 minutes. That includes a warm up on speed development. So we'll find space, whether it's a hallway, a gym, outside, if it's nice out, and we do sprint work. But in an off-season program for me, usually I'll have anywhere from 15 to 60 kids. I don't have a ton of time to be breaking down every single mechanic of every single athlete. So I kind of follow this guy by the name of Tony Holler. Has anyone ever heard of Tony Holler? He's getting big now. Well, I've been knowing Tony Holler since I worked back at TC Boost, back when he was just kind of throwing out Feed the Cats, his program. All right. Luckily for me, Tony Holler is from Illinois, so got to talk with him a lot while being in Illinois. And so I've been doing Feed the Cats type of programming for a while. Again, he's big on record, rank, and publish. Right. Record your athletes. Time them. You want them to run fast? That's the only way you get fast. Is sprinting fast. You got to push the body past its limits to create an adaptation. All right? Best way to do that, make them sprint. All right? And so I love him because his stuff is very simple and it's very quick. His track program, all right, if you go talk to Tony how long his track practices are, they don't last over an hour. Not even close. And 2 out of the 5 days that they practice aren't even geared towards sprinting. They're doing jump work, med ball work. They're doing what they call their X Factor days. Right? So they only really train sprint work 3 days out of the week. Okay? One thing I don't like about Tony, well, I like Tony a lot, but he doesn't agree with lifting. He doesn't believe you need to lift, right? He believes in a lot of the sprint work, all right? But at the end of the day, his program is awesome, and it's really good for strength coaches. Why? Because it's short and sweet, right? You guys as track coaches, you guys are the ones going out and training them, coaching them on each mechanic work, all right? I like to think that I know a lot about sprint mechanics, but not going to say track coaches know less than I do. That's not a fact, not even close. And so at the end of the day, all right, I'm gearing the program towards getting them to run fast. Run fast. All right? And I'm using drills to correct them, not cueing each and everything. All right? I'm using wickets. All right? Just getting them to run fast, just using subtle cues to get them to sprint fast. So how does that look? All right, we got an off-season lift. On my days that I'm doing max velo work, we're hitting a straight leg shuffle, just about 2 sets of 10 yards. All right, doing 2 sets of 15 yards on straight leg bounds. We hit our wickets. I love wickets. Do them all the time. All right, most athletes, you get them on a wickets, even if it's the first time doing it, they're going to stink at it. But before you know it, they're actually going to be running pretty darn well. Just by having them run through some wickets. I don't need to coach them on that. Run through the wickets. All right? Give them subtle cues as they go. All right? Stand up tall. All right? Get the front side early. All right? Get off your heels. Little things. Let those wickets, let those drills correct it for you. All right? And then we hit some hurdle jumps. All right? That takes 20 minutes. That includes the right rest time. All right? Maybe 25 minutes. And then I pair that. Again, you see 2, 4, 6, 8 exercises in there. Right? In the off season, we're hitting deadlift. We're getting some RFES work, so that's a Bulgarian. Kettlebell hang march. That's where you saw that athlete standing there, hitting that. Shoulder press, some pull-up work, and our Nordics. Nordic hamstring, again, for hamstring care. We always sprint first. Always. Right? We'll never lift first. Be an idiot if I did. All right? And, again, I'm crushing them here. But they won't sprint again for another day or two. Probably about 2 days at least, minimum. So I'm not too worried about them coming back again. I'll only do max velo work 1 day a week. But when my kids do their max velo work, they're going 100%. And I'm tracking them. All right, so I know they're getting full effort in. Okay? This is our acceleration day. All right? We got a banded load and lift. All right, that's just your wall drill, having them load back and driving that leg through and up, hands on the wall. Again, resist it. We have our wall quick switch. Got them on a wall, they're in triple extension, and they're switching through that, making sure they're at a 45-degree angle. Banded broad jump, a banded A run. Okay, that's just an A run in place. All right, and then we're hitting some med ball chest toss plus a broad jump. We're just trying to get some power development in there for acceleration work. And then we just sprint. And I just write finisher because whatever time's left, we're just sprinting until I say we stop. All right, we do rest. So if we rest, or if we run 10 yards, we rest a minute. If I have them do a 20-yard sprint, we're resting 2 minutes till we sprint again. All right, that's what studies show, and we're using timers. Okay, so that's a 25, 30-minute speed. Then we go to the weight room, same thing. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 exercises. All right, max in my program. All right, we're hitting a snatch. We're squatting on those days. All right, we're hitting a lateral shoulder raise just to get some shoulder work in. Why not? Some Russian twists. Bear crawls. Love bear crawls. Good plank. Plank work there. Good for posterior shoulder work. All right. Bumper plate. That's just a farmer carry. They're pinching the plates, just getting a little finger strength in there. Barbell row. And then that split squat heel raise. Right? We showed that at the beginning, training that ankle again. Again, it's at the end of my program. It's towards the end. All right? We're training that ankle. We're trying to find ways to get that speed work in inside the weight room as much as we can. Even if it's just one exercise or 2 exercises, we're training something regarding sprinting. Okay? Any questions on these 2? All right, so my 3rd day of speed will typically just be an agility day. All right, so we're working curve linear. I call that an agility in my opinion. But getting them to learn how to run on an arc, or maybe doing some shuffle work, crossover work. Again, I'm trying to create an athlete. All right, I don't want them to injure themselves. All right, so the more of an athlete you got, less chance for injury, in my opinion. All right, so that's kind of what I got. Do you guys have any questions? I tried to leave more time to talk about sprint work, mechanic work, anything I talked up here, because we can really just open it up. I enjoy give and take and just thinking out loud. So any questions on my program? All right, you can always email me. You can look us up on Instagram and Twitter, see a lot of what we do. Again, when it comes to sprinting, I keep it basic. All right, I just sprint them as much as I can. I find drills to get them to train those mechanics without me having to do film or do one-on-one coaching, right? Because that's just not reality. You got 10 to 20 kids, so what are the drills that can get the most bang for your buck without you really having to coach every little thing? Right? Yeah.
When you think about maybe what a track practice is, some days we work on acceleration, some days top speed, some days whatever else, endurance.
Yeah.
Do you try to pair up your lifts that day with what you're working on that day?
Yeah. So that's typically just conversation. All right. So I'll have a conversation when my kids come in. Hey, what did we work on today outside? Right. That's just on the fly because coaches change on the fly. I respect that. And so that's just having an open dialogue with the kids. All right. We trained acceleration today. So I'll switch. I'll maybe go to lift 1. All right. If it's day 2. Right. If it's their second. You get what I'm saying? Like I'll switch it up. I'll move day 2 to day 1 and day 1 to day 2. I also listen to my kids on where they're at fatigue level. They come in the weight room and they may say, Coach Schwartz crushed us today. We did a lot of running. So I'll throw my lift that's on the board in the trash and we'll do mobility and recovery work. And if you guys went to RJ stuff, we do recovery. My kids love my mobility work. Almost too much. It's what they ask for almost every time they come in because they love it that much. Also because they probably just don't want to lift, right? They're high school kids. But they love it. So we meet them where they're at, right? It's the same thing you do in a classroom, right? Try to meet the kid where they're at and where they're at that day. If for some odd reason their lift day comes on a day before a meet, and let's say it's a big meet, I'm not really going to lift them. I'm going to do mobility with them. I might do a little bit of mechanic work with them, but that's about it. Why? I want them fresh for their meet the next day. All right, I do not have an ego. You need to lift every single time we walk in the weight room. All right. If anything, if you push those kids to that limit, you're going to lose them real fast. Real fast. All right. Good question. I love it. Yeah.
Do you do any specialization, like if you've got a hurdler, you add a couple things there, or for takeoff, or long jump, triple jump, stuff like that? coming off of a sprint, do you kind of accessorize a few special things, or?
No.
Okay.
Partly because if I did that, I'd have 3 or 4 different programs running inside a weight room at a time. That's not really conducive. It's not safe. You get kids asking, why am I doing this but not doing that, right? I try to keep it as much unified as we can. And we can all argue here that, right, every kid needs a squat, needs a deadlift, right? They need a jump. So no matter what we're jumping, right? We're broad jumping, we're triple jumping. I leave that specific stuff. I tell our track coach, that's for y'all. That really specific hone-in stuff, that's for you guys. All right? So, no, I have one unified program. Yeah. Endurance kids, all right? Your long distance, they're going to do the same thing the sprinters are doing. It's not going to hurt them. It's not. And it's not going to make them slower or anything like that. All right? So, they're doing the same. My cross-country runners in the fall, practically the track lift. Endurance runners don't need to do endurance training in the weight room and 15 and 20 rep work, right? They don't need that. They're already getting that. They're already getting that every day they go out for a 20-mile run, all right? So I don't need to hit more endurance work. What they do need and what they do lack is just your typical strength work, right? Keeping them healthy in that regard. Yeah.
What's your perspective on box squats?
So you're just your normal back or front, butt touching the box and come back up. Love it. I do it with my track kids. I actually do box squats more than I would a regular squat, especially as we're getting further into the season. Why? I don't need them to go below 90. I don't even need them to get to 90. Right? Guys never at 90 out of the blocks. Right? I need them to be explosive above 90 and that drive phase. Right? Do I do regular squats without box? Of course. Right? Core stability, try to get those hips open, try to get them lower. But at the end of the day, stopping them at the box, driving off of it, being explosive, love that. All right, so we'll go lighter in that capacity, right? Come down to the box, touch, and I want you to drive off that box as hard as you can. Control it down, fire, right? Again, coming back to trying to get them to explode out of blocks, being explosive in their movements, all right? Projecting out, same concept when I'm doing those. Love them. Nothing bad there. Am I doing them all day long? No, no way, right? We'll goblet squat them, get them below 90, train those movements for sure, but definitely middle of the season to the end, box squats, yeah. 100%. All right? I also don't back squat my kids very often. Very rare. Very rare. The kid asks, they have to show me proficient back squat technique. And it's usually not till they're a junior or senior. All right? My kids will only front squat. Even before I back squat them, I'll throw on a safety squat bar. One with the pads, all right? So we rarely back squat. Big for me, how I think about that and why, all right? Again, these kids are in high school. If I was a college strength coach, all right, when I shadowed a little bit at Northwestern University under Jay Hooten, all right, they love back squats. Well, they should. Back squats are going to be your best lift in terms of building strength, right? But those kids are in college. There's a phase of their life that they've already gone through, and that's puberty, right? When you think about the spine, right, the vertebrae, 33 vertebrae trying to grow upward, right? Trying to grow during puberty. How does that make sense to apply force on the back, and especially if it's wrong and sitting on their spine, force applying down onto it while it's trying to go that way? In my head and how I think of the body, all right, that doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, so again, my kids won't really get there. Will we do some back squat technique with a training bar or just the bar and try to teach them how to back squat? 100%. Even as freshmen. But they're not loading that. They're not loading. All right? I'm not really going to load them on a back squat till they get to about junior, senior year. It took my football coach a while to get behind that, but now he is. All right, so that's just me. All right? And my track athletes, I typically use a safety squat bar. They just like it. Feels more comfortable for them. They'll be able to do that safely and just feel more safe in their own minds. And we'll just do safety squat bar squats to a bench and back up. All right. Again, part of that too is that's a lot of coaching too, right? So sometimes that safety squat bar, it's pretty easy to teach them how to get that loaded on the shoulder. Really good, a lot quicker than really taking time to break down a back squat, because I'm not going to do that without proficient coaching for a while. Any others? Yeah.
Do you have different workouts for your other sports?
Yes and no. The main stuff, so if I go back here, so my off season, that's are all athletes. My off season's unified across the board. All right? Even my swimmers, they're doing A march or split squat holds. Right? It's good for them. It's not bad for them. It's not going to make them worse in their sport. All right? In season, all right, we're hitting these big ones. All right? Every athlete is going to do some type of deadlift work. All right? I move towards trap bar deadlift. I don't like the straight bar deadlift too much. If we do an RDL in some capacity, we're doing either a staggered, so it's a shallow just behind the heel. All right? So if I stand here, all right, I don't like, I do this with dumbbells early on in an off season, not in season. I'm not blowing up the back. Just something like that. All right? I may hit this position. All right? You'd be surprised how quick kids can get that. All right? But again, dumbbell work. But if I'm truly trying to get some strength with a deadlift movement, all right, I'm going trap bar. All right? And teach it like a hybrid. All right? It's almost like a squat. It's like a squat and a deadlift mixed together. All right? It's just safer, back's straighter. All right? Less strain on the lower back. But yeah, they're all doing probably these 4 and this 6th one. It's down here in the green area, that accessory work, is where I switch it up for different sports. All right? So my baseball kids might not do banded boom booms. They might do some rotation med ball work. All right? Or they might get some shoulder care work. All right? So I sprinkle in a little bit of their sport towards the end. A big part and reason for that, too, is I have, right when school gets out, 30 minutes, I got baseball, track, girls cross. If I had 3 different programs, all completely different, I'd be sitting there losing my mind, trying to reset up a weight room in not even a minute's time before the next team's rolling in. All right, so I try to make it as unified as I can and switch the little things up to their sport towards the end. Stuff that maybe doesn't take as much to reset up.
It sounds like we don't have the luxury of having a strength coach
Yeah.
at our school, but it sounds like you got everybody on board at your school.
Yep.
What would be your advice to trying to get coaches on one page following a system like this? Because, like, for example, right now we have football coaches doing their thing with the football athletes that also play basketball and that, but there's really not much consideration for their other sports.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I'm not gonna lie.
To buy into,
Yeah. For me, and I know this is probably not the answer you want, it starts with the AD.
Right. And we got another new one, which has been a revolving
Yep.
door for us.
And so it starts with the AD, right? I'm blessed to have an AD, Jeff Peterson, that he puts the pressure on the coaches. All right. If they truly don't want to lift, we're not going to sit there and hound them. All right. But he's logging that. All right. The big component of that is he tells a lot of coaches, you know, if Johnny is lifting in his sport, but his sister Sally is not lifting in her sport, parents are going to be pissed. Why is Johnny lifting but Sally's not? Right? Or whatever it is. Right? If Johnny's not lifting during football season, all right, if football didn't lift, but Johnny also does track, how does that help you as a track coach? It doesn't. Right? And so we have a meeting usually right before summer hits with all the coaches. Our AD sets up a meeting with every single coach. We're all on Zoom. All right? And he's like, he tells all the coaches, schedule your summer training program, etc., around strength. Strength takes priority. Okay? And we all meet as coaching staff. And that kind of puts it on the table. So if a coach is like, oh, I can't find the time, all those coaches hear it. Before you know it, enough pressure from everybody, coaching staff, myself, the AD, gets them to buy in. Again, I'm blessed in that situation. But again, I would say it starts with the AD. It also starts with, when I first got there, that wasn't the case. I set up a meeting in person with each coach. I hounded them. I mean hounded. Right? I'd send an email, hey, I want to meet with you before your season to find out what you do in your sport, and so you can meet me. And see if we can find a time in the weight room for you. Met with every single coach. All right? The one with the boys golf didn't go so well. That one, our meeting was about 1 minute. We're not lifting. Why? I don't believe in it. gonna keep hounding. I'm gonna coach the teams that want to be there. But I set up and meet with every coach every year too. Before the season hits, I send an email to all my coaches. Hey, we're getting to that time. Let's start scheduling times in the weight room. Let's sit down and have a meeting. Some of them are like, a meeting again? And I'm like, yeah. Why? Because I want to talk about what things you saw. Were there injuries? Right? Is there new coaches on staff that are going to help me in the weight room? What's your culture this year? Right? We all talk about culture. Right? You have a new motto every year, maybe. Kids pick a culture. I need to know that. My weight room is not my culture. I do not have specific sayings of my weight room that when they walk in, that's what it is. My weight room is an extension of my coaches' practices and program. So whatever their culture is, all right, that's what I'm saying to them inside the weight room. And I'm not going to know that without meeting with my coaches. All right, so I really put the pressure on them to meet with me and make them say no to me in person, not through an email. All right, I've been working with the new strength coach right now in Minnesota who just got hired, and he keeps sending emails. He's not getting responses. My answer to him was show up to their practice, show a face, meet them where they're at. They're not going to run away from you.
So I coach two sports at my high school. I do soccer and track. And what would you say, what would you think we should do? Our strength and conditioning coach is I would say he's very football oriented. Like he just focuses on heavy lifting, heavy everything. He doesn't focus on any mechanics. He just cares about getting PRs and doing all of that. Like what would you do as a coach? Like what do you suggest doing? We do have a new AD this year, and that strength and conditioning coach kind of took their new AD under his wing, so he's very good friends with the AD as well. So it's kind of also difficult to talk to the AD because he's also football oriented.
Yeah.
But what do you think we should do as coaches in multi-sports, like sports?
That's a good one.
coach, but
That's a good one.
because he doesn't want to do anything else besides the heavy lifting and all of that.
I got
What
an
do you think
answer
we
for
should
her.
do?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have no weight room.